Ayo! And what is up, gang? Thank you so much for joining me here again on the channel tonight. It is Wednesday, November the 1st, and we are here to talk about last night's edition of Smackdown Live. And we are going to do that right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of the YouTube wrestling community. It's called The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. In case you didn't know, now you know. So, let's do it, baby.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball, my trusty and loyal tag team partner, and we are here to discuss last night's edition of Smackdown Live. Full disclosure, and first and foremost, I want to apologize to everybody for being so freaking late. But as you all already know, last night was Halloween, and I had a very difficult day at work throughout the day, very hectic, and I got out early to take my daughter trick-or-treating. I dressed up and did my Papa Smurf makeup, and I went out there and I trekked the whole town, or as much as my little 5-year-old could bear. And apparently, all that she could bear is all that I could bear, because just about halfway through SmackDown Live, as we got to Jinder Mahal, coincidence, I think not, your trusty loyal source for reviews and news passed the hell out on the couch, stone cold like Steve Austin. What? I said like Steve Austin. What? You heard me. I knocked out. So then I woke up this morning, and I went back and did a whole nother day of exhausting work, and by the time I got finished watching the second half of SmackDown Live, we got to be this late in the evening, as it is now just approaching 10 p.m., and we are going to get this out there for you guys, because if I don't, you guys will miss me, and we can't have that, because I miss you every time I am not here with you guys on YouTube. And I'm very sorry that it came so late. So let's get this underway and over with, because honestly, there was not too much to complain about for tonight's SmackDown Live. Although, as you guys know, I'm a nitpicky little man, and I do have some things I want to address. So, SmackDown Live tonight came to us from Norfolk, Virginia, the Norfolk Scope, the fabled arena where the WWF would send D-Generation X to try to take over WCW way, way back in the late 90s at the dawn of the Attitude Era. And now we have come 20 plus years later, or maybe approaching 20 years later, and we get a very good edition of SmackDown Live. In comparison to the last few weeks, it was far better. Far better. And big props to SmackDown Live for being the only one of the two shows to effectively start building towards Survivor Series. As by the end of this night, we will have 4 members of Team Blue, and last night, we only knew 1. By the time the end of the show, we only knew that Kurt Angle was manning the team. And right before SmackDown Live tonight, Kurt Angle would tweet out that he recruits Braun Strowman. And I feel like they did that because they forgot to do it last night. After Braun Strowman laid waste to the Miz and finally got his comeuppance, Kurt Angle should have hit the stage and said, "Braun Strowman, please stop your attack. I would like to have you on Team Red. Just please stop, calm down, and you can get to beat the hell out of the guys on SmackDown." And effectively ending Raw with at least one scenario building towards Survivor Series outside of Stephanie McMahon and Kurt Angle. Coincidentally, I did not mention Stephanie McMahon in my review of Monday Night Raw last night, which if you didn't watch it, you could always go check it out after you check this out. And that is because, one, I did not want to burst a blood vessel live on camera, because just the mere sight of her and her grating voice just gets to me. However, the segment that she had this week did make sense, and she did not leave her presence and her stench all over Monday Night Raw. It was just at the beginning, and then she was gone, and I could stomach that, so we didn't really get into it. However, it does start us off here tonight with Shane McMahon, or last night rather, for SmackDown Live, starting off the show, inserting himself as team captain to go opposite Kurt Angle. We all already knew from last week that Randy Orton is part of Team SmackDown. So now tonight we are going to have two more qualifying matches. One coming in the form of the 2 out of 3 falls match between Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, which was not as glorious as you would think it was. It was a very damn good matchup, but I am really upset about the fact that they did not give this match ample amount of time. I don't care that they didn't, that they stayed picture in picture during the commercial break. That didn't bother me. What bothered me was the fact that one of the pinfalls happened in this break, and I only know this because when Bobby Roode, at the end of this match, would hit Dolph Ziggler with the glorious DDT, I thought it was tying up the match. But the match was over, and the announcers were calling it as if Bobby Roode won, and I had to go back and rewind through all the commercial garbage to see where I missed this. Such a simple, easy thing to miss. And not being able to hear the crowd reaction or the commentators calling the 3 count made me miss the whole thing entirely. Because I guess maybe I was more interested in the commercial that was on in the other box at the time. Maybe I got up to get my soda. I don't know how I missed it. But I missed it. And the fact that something like that can happen is a big old no-no, WWE. And as much as I've been a proponent of the picture-in-picture, you need to plan things better. I know the referee's got an earpiece that you could tell him when you're going to commercial. You can't tell him to tell the guys to make sure that they don't do the pinfall spot until they get back from commercial. You got to be more on top of things. That was unacceptable. A pinfall in a 2 out of 3 falls match should not have been missed. And for me to have missed it is terrible. The only reason that a guy like me would miss it is because you put it in a spot where I would never expect it, like during a commercial break. Where if there were no picture-in-picture, nobody would have ever known. We would have came back, and they would have been like, oh, by the way, during the break. And how would that made you feel? That you missed Bobby Roode tying this match up, leading into the 3rd and final fall. Which, as I said, glorious DDT to Dolph Ziggler allows Bobby Roode to be part of Team SmackDown. And his promo following his win would have been fine had he ended with glorious, but he ended with the term #under siege, which I already hate and I wish would go away. The WWE, they coin a phrase, man, and they go with it. They beat that dead horse until you can't even stomach the sight of it anymore. The sounds of the words under siege, all it brings back to me is images of Steven Seagal's face on the cover of the VHS cassette box in my childhood. Under Siege, and then Under Siege 2, the big trash heap of a sequel that it was. Oh my God. Under Siege. Why didn't he end glorious? Now Team SmackDown's going to be glorious. No. What did we get? Under Siege. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. Anyway, Bobby Roode goes on to win this match. We see the New Day backstage dressed up fantastically. We had Xavier Woods as Jimmy Hart. He looked absolutely great. Kofi Kingston, covered in red to do his best I love you and portray brother love. One of the most obnoxious managers of all time. And Big E walking around dressed up like the African Dream, Akeem. And I doubt many of you guys under the age of 30 even know what that reference was. But we're not going to get twisted on that. What was interesting here was the interaction with RUSEV in the backstage area. Rusev knocked out the candy from Big E's pumpkin, which he took a great exception to, and this is what would lead to their altercation tonight. At least it was a reason. I will give them credit for giving me a reason. He knocked Big E's candy down, and for that reason, I'm going to get to see a battle of two behemoths. And I was actually alright with this. I don't remember really seeing them go one-on-one before. I'm probably wrong about that. But I was interested. I wanted to see Big E versus Rusev. Hopefully this is going to lead towards Rusev and Aiden English actually forming a team. I like what they did tonight in their match. I like their chemistry together. Rusev, in this arrogant happiness that he has, it's just great. I've always been a fan of Rusev, even as they've been burying him and have been hoping for something to pull him back into the light, and maybe this Aiden English teaming just might do that. We'll get a little bit back to that in a minute. The women were not featured in the ring on this night at all, but we did have a segment backstage, which I did not really care for. They had everybody back there. They had Becky Lynch trying to hype everybody up, getting everybody on the same page for their battle with the Red Brand, trying to prove that they're not the B show and blah blah. All the same old stereotypical Raw versus SmackDown jargon, the same verbiage from last year, all the same crap. Nobody really cares to hear it. This was all cringe-mania. Only to be topped off by Natty coming in and making the whole thing worse, telling everybody that maybe Naomi's the weak link, maybe Charlotte Flair is the weak link, which is ridiculous. Let's be honest, that's just ridiculous. And it was just a useless segment, made even more useless by the appearance of that puppy dog Ellsworth. If you've been watching this show, you know how that irks me. That him walking around with the dog collar irks me. And I can't understand how he claims to be a man and is proud to be a person on this world, on this planet. How are you okay with this? Only to be made worse by actually being dressed as a dog for Halloween. Big floppy ears and everything. And then you don't even have any words to say. You're literally barking on camera and getting sprayed in the face by Becky Lynch with a water bottle. Somebody get this guy out of the WWE right now. It's just degrading. It's degrading to men in general. You don't even really get to see that. But if you look at what I'm looking at, it is. It doesn't matter what your skin tone, religion, or anything is. If you're a man and you find that amusing, you're a dingbat. Because it's not. It's ridiculous. It's degrading. And it's pointless. Why? So this guy can just get paid? You signed him as an indie guy for what? He got over in a fight that he had with Braun Strowman. And now he's being chained, literally chained, to a dying women's division and being dressed up as a dog and sprayed with water. I just had to get that out there. Baron Corbin's saga continues as he fails to be able to defeat a cruiserweight. Still. He's lost twice to him now, once by countout, once by disqualification. He would win tonight by disqualification because Sin Cara went crazy. Not because Baron Corbin did anything that nuts, but because Sin Cara went nuts. So Baron Corbin wins, which he should be doing anyway, but he wins by disqualification. Are you serious? This whole angle needs to go away. Baron Corbin needs to drop the title to somebody worth a damn. Because I don't understand. If you can't beat Sin Cara, who nobody gives two shits about, then they want to talk about his mask, right? That's not his mask. Whatever it is he's wearing right now, that's not Sin Cara's mask. It looks like a cheap knockoff of Rey Mysterio. Sin Cara's mask was unique. It was different. It had flair to it. It had the points going up. He stood out from the other luchas. Just like Kalisto's mask stands out because it's got the dragon spines going down the side, right? Looks a little bit like Ultimo Dragon from back in the day. But Sin Cara's was unique, it was different, and now it's just a regular lucha mask. So how long have you had this mask? Is this the mask that's been in your family forever, or is it the one that has the fins on the side? What the hell are we doing? We're changing this character. We're changing a gimmick that doesn't need to be changed. We're changing the part of him that doesn't need to be changed. What needs to be changed is his trajectory. and where he's going on this roster, not what his mask looks like. But this is what's important, and I'm supposed to be made to care. You guys haven't cared. Sin Cara's been around probably for about a decade now. He's been played by 3 different men. Why should I care? So he can lose to Baron Corbin? Nonsense. Jinder Mahal. This is where I fell asleep during our initial viewing on Tuesday night. Jinder Mahal had a whole bunch of nonsense to say. I didn't really pay too much attention to any of it until he said one particular phrase where he said he was going to conquer Brock Lesnar and from that day forward be known as the Beastmaster. The Beastmaster. And I want to know what he's smoking or drinking or what kind of PEDs he's using that's affecting his brainstem. Beast Master. You think you are going to be the master of Brock Lesnar? I think the term you were looking for was Ass Master. Because that's what you are. You are an Ass Master. And whoever wrote this shit for him, I have no words for you. For you to want us to believe that he really believes this crap either is just... I have no words. I have no words. And this would lead to AJ Styles having a match with another one of those sing midgets. Fun friends, the Singlets. This lasted about 30 seconds. Styles clash to whichever one it was. The whole purpose of this segment was to have Jinder Mahal put AJ Styles in a precarious position, get him wrapped around the ring post, applying some pressure to the ribs after throwing him into the ring post, trying to make Jinder Mahal look like a vile villain. And all he looks like to me is vomit. A giant pile of living, breathing vomit that's holding the World Heavyweight Championship hostage from the rest of the roster, which is unacceptable. RUSEV and Big E went one-on-one in what was probably my second favorite match of the night. This was a very good match for these two guys. The two big guys moved around like the younger guys. Not younger guys, but the smaller guys, because these guys are both fairly young in their own right. But man, can they move for big pieces of meat. They really flew around that ring. Big E is a strong guy. RUSEV, we all know what he's all about. Very, very even match. Very fun match to watch. And RUSEV would only gain the advantage after Aiden English would start singing about RUSEV Day in the middle of this match, which would prompt Xavier Woods to come and interrupt him, and we had him blowing his horn, and Aiden English was singing, and the other blowing his horn, and the next thing you know, chaos is happening on the outside. RUSEV would catch Big E with a very ugly kick. It didn't look like it connected too well to me, but this would end up being enough, apparently, to finish Big E off, as RUSEV would get the 1, 2, 3, and I'm only hoping that this is just the beginning for this pairing, and that we're going to start to see some new stuff going on in the tag team division, thanks to the New Day. And if they're going to be putting over new talent and starting this tag team division off right, leading into WrestleMania season, as this year is rapidly coming to a close, I'm all for it. Let's bring it, because 2017, like we said yesterday, has just really been a big brown asshole and a stinky one so far. But maybe we're going to break out some toilet paper and start cleaning up if they get better than they were tonight, because tonight was pretty good, and if we can move up from here, we might be in good shape by the end of the year. Our main event tonight would see Shinsuke Nakamura go one-on-one with Kevin Owens, and this was a great match. This was a great match. This match was given more time than the 2 out of 3 falls match. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying 2 out of 3 falls between two prime superstars should have went 35 minutes. Or at least a solid half hour. You gave that almost to these guys here. You gave Shinsuke and Kevin, a good 20 minutes. There was too many commercial breaks in this match, but this was a fun match. These guys were high octane. They were hard hitting. It was great. It ended with a Kinshasa to Kevin Owens after Sami Zayn would come out and try to cause some interference, only to be countered by Randy Orton, making an appearance on behalf of Shinsuke Nakamura, evening the odds on the outside, which would allow Nakamura to deliver that Kinshasa and get the win. The funny thing about this match, which I found myself having to rewind a couple of times because I just couldn't keep my eyes off the guy that got smashed in the face in the front row when Sammy went rogue and tossed the top of that announce table towards the crowd. If you go back and take a look, there's this guy, and I think he's in a Nikki Bella Fearless hat, and he gets mashed in the face with the corner point of that table piece, and it don't look fun. But he very, very quickly was back into the action, as by the time Randy Orton would put Sami Zayn through that table with a vicious back suplex, he could visibly be seen cheering on the Viper and happy to be front row. These are the risks you run when you are front row sometimes. That's what happens. You might get caught up in the action. And this poor guy, this poor sap certainly did. All of a sudden he was gone. Like I said, I couldn't keep my eyes off him, and he was there. He was having a good time again, but then all of a sudden he disappeared. I could only imagine somebody on WWE's crew approached him and maybe wanted to make sure he was okay, maybe offered him to come backstage, gave him a little, I'm sorry benefits before the end of the night. I would certainly hope that would happen for me, even though he seemed to be absolutely fine. I just thought it was funny, and it kind of took me out of the moment. I was really invested in the match up until I seen this guy get bashed in the face, and then it kind of took my attention away. Just wanted to bring it to your attention. If you didn't notice it, go back if you still got it. If it probably won't be shown on the network or on the Hulu cuts, they'll probably do their best to edit away that little piece. So if you can catch it now while you got it on your DVRs and it's red hot, go back and do that. And that would pretty much be your SmackDown Live, man. It was a good show as pertains to the shows we've been getting. It could have been a much better show. It leaves a lot of questions still to be answered, like who's going to be the fifth man on Team Blue. The Raw team has supposedly been leaked, and I'm not going to speculate on that based on what I've heard, because I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to go, and I don't want to ruin it for any of you guys that have not seen or heard about that story just yet. But yeah, SmackDown Live, not bad. Wish I would have stayed up and watched it and put this review out earlier. Hopefully it don't hurt the numbers too much. Make sure, if you enjoyed the show today, you hit that thumbs up. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Join the Sledgehammer Club and hit that subscribe button. Ring the ring bell right next to it so that you will always be up to date, and every single time a video drops, you will know the very second that it goes live, as we like to do right here on Sledgehammer TV, the one and only home of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, right here on YouTube.com. Don't forget to visit our sponsor, Clutch Chairs. The link is down in the description below. I would appreciate if you do that. Just go take a look. See if maybe your favorite superstar's chair is there. Maybe you need a new computer desk for your gaming system. They, at the Clutch, got you covered. Go check it out. If you want to buy something, please do so. But don't forget to do so using that link. Enough of the shameless plugging. We've got some news stories coming at you this weekend, so make sure you keep your eye open for the weekend update, dropping probably Saturday or most likely Sunday this week. We got a lot of Survivor Series news to talk about. Probably going to try to get a 2K18 simulation up there sometime throughout this week. The first one is up there. If you haven't watched it, go check it out, man. Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, which was pretty much a prophecy telling of what would actually happen when they went one-on-one at the pay-per-view this past weekend. Thank you so much for joining me, man. This has been a rough week. It has been a rough night, and I am going to leave you at that. Thank you so much. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is my World Tag Team Champion, Partner, and World Heavyweight Champion of all microphones, Blue, the Snowball microphone. Thank you for watching. That's going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. See you this weekend for the weekend update. Have a good one.